Alright, so yeah, somebody asked me to go ahead and kind of finish out the demo I was working on at CP, and I thought I'd go ahead and do that for you guys. So I think what I'm planning to do here is I'm going to model it just like I was doing, but I'm going to get a little more detailed with the model. And I'm just going to make kind of a final game ready mesh first and foremost. And then I'll make a copy of that. And then I'll start sculpting. And we'll kind of explore that tool set a little bit. And then if all that kind of happens quick enough, I might try to render the normal maps, render alpha maps, start making some of that and putting it into the low poly mesh. So we'll just kind of explore, you know, modeling for getting it ready for the engine, and sculpting for getting nice texture maps, and then the final process of baking that into your low poly. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. This time I'm going to go ahead and set it up properly and use the shield as a background image so I can kind of hop back and forth from the front view to make sure everything's looking good. All right, well, we're just going to go with it. Right now here, I'm opening up add-ons to try to turn on this add-on called Screencast Keys. And it's one that worked in the past. I don't know if it works anymore, but we'll certainly try it out. What it does is once I turn it on, it'll show like what keys I'm pressing like right around here at the bottom. So you can kind of try to keep up with what I'm doing as I'm modeling. All right, cool. Well, all right, so it looks like they changed it up, and now it hovers over where I'm clicking, which is interesting. Don't know if I'm a fan, but you'll see if I right click and press Control, then it's going to give you that control. If I press A, hey, that's not bad. So it gives you a really good like big view of what I'm doing. So we'll roll with that, and hopefully that can be helpful for somebody. I'm going to center this up a little bit. It's kind of just a little off. So I'm just going to scoot it over. That looks about good. All right, so last time I kind of started with the outside of the shield, but I think this time I'm just going to start with the metal trim, and we'll try to make it all one piece. So let's try to do that. All right, cool. Just like last time, I'm going to start with a vertice, so I'm just going to collapse this cube. Now I got my one little vertice. We'll just start in there in the middle. I'm going to go ahead and throw on that mirror modifier and turn on clipping. Let's see if this works with just a vert. Yep, that works. All right, perfect. Let's go. So here I'm just kind of trying to make sure that things line up well, like that I have the same number of vertices on either side of this little metal piece. So just to make sure I'm keeping things as low poly as possible, I'm going to take out this vert because I think it can kind of hold the shape well enough without that middle vert. So if I'm going to take out a vert, if I just delete the vertice, I'll delete the edges too. So I'm going to dissolve that vert, and then just kind of start to reshape it to kind of keep it looking as clean as possible. And here I'm gonna make it even easier on myself by mirroring across the y-axis too, or maybe the z-axis. Let's see. Extrude. Gotta extrude it before I'll see. All right, perfect. Let's see if that lined up well. And I'm just going to kind of do that by, first I'm going to make sure these match up. Now they do. All right, I'm going to shift these up a little bit to keep it a little more even. That's perfect. All right, now I'm just going to grab the whole top edge. And then maybe not those, but just that. And maybe not those. All right. Yeah, none of that. And I'm just going to move it in a little bit so I can start to see that bevel on the edge. And I'm just trying to create some consistency in the bevel we see here. Just grabbing verts and moving them around. All right. I mean, that looks pretty solid. Now we can start building out from there. And I'm going to show you guys another really cool add-on on Blender that I love to use. And if I go to File, User Preferences, and go F2, F2 is a super interesting add-on. What it does is it's basically an algorithm that kind of calculates where a face should go. And it is so handy. I'll show you what I mean. Normally, if I were going to make a face, I'd have to extrude that out and then grab that and then grab all the verts and then make my face. Well, F2 does that for you. It kind of makes a best guess. It takes you select one vertice, and then based on the adjacent verts, it makes a guess at where the next vertice should go, which is super cool. So I can just start really quickly getting these faces placed, which is awesome. Awesome. All right. I'm going to throw an edge in here just to support. What should I do? I don't know, maybe. I'm just trying to kind of make a decision here because I don't want to add a lot of unnecessary geometry. So I could just take this edge out. I mean, considering this is the low poly mesh, I think this is fine, but I think it would be smarter to model in this big shape right here as opposed to trying to sculpt it in, just since it's so hard surface. So I'm gonna put that back and maybe add in another edge against my better judgment. But that way I can actually shift this up and I can have a path to kind of like start creating that face. So let's start to kind of shape that out. And now I'm going to not use F2 here. I'm just going to position that and then start to follow that edge and make this. And again, I'm trying to eyeball to keep it in line with these other edges I've got on here. And at any time now, I can kind of start to consider that this thing is going to raise up as we go along. And I'll probably do something like that. And that way I can kind of start to billow it out a little bit and give it this, bulky look. Scaling it up to match the concept. And I'm going to use that proportional editing with connected, because what that's going to do here is it's not going to affect any of these verts. It's just going to move, this vertex pathway. So now I can go into the side view and kind of start to get the amount of rays that I would expect out of it, I believe. That might be a little much, but it's not bad. Just turn that back off. Whoa, no. All right, cool. Okay, pretty cool. Let's take this edge out of here. There's all those edges, yeah. And let's take that out of there. Yeah, why not? Whoa, no, we don't want that. So edges. And I want those verts gone too, so, oh, that works, cool. All right, so here we're gonna go ahead and use the cut tool. And that way this edge can become, what allows me to raise this up as we move down the line. So let's do that. And again, I'm using that F2 modifier here to start to get or to get the faces quickly, right? To save myself some time. I'm just laying them out. And if I make this correction early where this is like starting to lift off of the panel, then F2 will adjust to that as well. I mean, I'll probably have to make some little corrections, but it'll do a pretty good job of predicting what I want to do. All right, so we're already starting to see. I mean, this is not coming back as far as we're going to want. So we'll just shoot over into the side view. We can move it back. We can move it all the way back. We can scale it on the Y, you know, whatever. Maybe not that much, but just something like that. And then start to set it something like that. All right. Yeah, it's not quite getting it. You're just not getting it, F2. What do we got going on? Yeah, well, I'm gonna need a little more here again to support it, so that's okay. It's you know, it's extra geometry for sure, but it's gonna help me shape the whole thing, I mean, more accurately, so that's nice, but you do kind of want to weigh and balance, you know, um, how dense it's going to be. Because I mean, if this is like a player's, shield, then yeah, I mean, you can make it this detailed. But if it's something that's just lying around, then you're definitely going to want to make it lower poly. So yeah, I'm just deselecting. I mean, I know it's kind of hard to see on the screencast keys, but I'm deselecting with C and middle click. Alright, so I should probably take this even further down just because it really looks like it kind of sinks in where these little like claws kind of grab in at the center. So I'm going to take the whole thing a little further in. But first I'm going to actually even these out a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, so I want these to kind of come maybe all the way back into the shield here. About like that. Okay. All right, we can start kind of making some of these faces now. And since we're working up both sides, let's see. Yeah, that's not going to quite work. I believe there's an add-on that'll quickly fill this through too, but I'm not sure. We can take a look. User preferences. Tools. Yeah, I think this mesh loop tools does something like that. Let's take a look at it. So you notice they kind of came in at different places. I mean, like screencast tools came in over here, but it's like a viewport tool that just kind of puts these viewport informations here. A lot of the time, if you put in an add-on, say it's a mesh tool, say it's something for modeling, it's going to come in probably over here in this rollout where you have your different mesh modeling tools. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what some of this does. G-stretch. I believe this is going to be some way to draw using the grease pencil to put in verts, but yeah, this is I don't think it's worth really learning right now, so I'm just going to leave it be. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. Hey, that works. If I grab so let's go back and let's look at that. Unfortunately now I don't know if that's part of loop tools or if that's part of F2. It's actually probably part of F2. But now that I've got this edge selected and I've got this predictable trajectory of where these faces are going to go, I can just press F, 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 and that just fills it in. Boom. Now we're getting an issue here where, you know, these faces are going to start to get pretty big. But what's good is we've got this notch here, which is a great place for us to kind of introduce another edge loop to alleviate some of the, see, like I can just add that there. And then now we've got another edge loop coming in. And that can handle, you know, some of the polys that we'll need to fill in these side faces, because we're introducing another edge loop, so we'll have enough verts to have appropriate detail. Okay, good. Yeah, that's still not good. I mean, I guess, hold on. I think what we can go for here is something like, We could do something like that. Maybe something like that. Let's see if we can. So this is kind of common to do something like this. I mean, where now we've put these triangles in so that now that we have two like face loops that are going to go into the rest of this. So let's kind of roll with that and see what we get. I'm going to add that there because that's just a major stretch. So. Yeesh, yeah, this is getting a little messy. Let's see. But the way I separated that was with V just to split it. I'm going to move this over, and I think I'm going to try to delete that try. Oh, no, we didn't like that. Yeah, it works. And then we can do that, and now we got a little more going. All right, I mean, that works for me for now. Let's see where we got this one. Yeah, that's solid. That's solid. All right. A more logical way to handle this would probably be to add something like that here, and then make this a continuation of this loop. I think that would probably make more sense. And then we can get rid of this kind of weird face here. And I'm going to split that again so that we get quads, you know, four-sided faces, or four vert faces, if at all possible. Because, you know, tries are okay, but quads are better because if I want to subdivide it, like if I want to subdivide it to get a really crisp look for it, quads subdivide a lot cleaner than triangles do. So it looks like we ended up with more than enough going going into the rest of this. It's actually probably too much, but that's okay. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That dip already kind of looks nice. I mean, that's kind of what we want to go for there. So I'm just going to kind of leave that for now, and we'll try to finish this part up. All right, let's see if we can get it to do that all the way through here. Nah, it ain't gonna happen. It's all right. We can do this. Just scaling it in the Z to try to keep it nice and even. All right, cool. Just like that, man, it makes it easy. All right, but that's not great. So All right, cool. Let's move on. Let's get the shield going. And I don't know. I mean, like, this is where we think, maybe the shield should be a separate object than the metal plate on the front. Um, hmm. Let's go ahead and, yeah, well, we're going to make the whole thing whole for sure before we try to bend it, but, yeah, I think I want to make it as two separate objects. All right, so I'm going to add a circle. I'm going to give it, I mean, there's 32 verts here now, and I'm going to end up deleting all but a fourth of them, so I guess I end up with 8 verts. I mean, I think that's more than necessary, but we'll leave it. We'll leave it for now. I'm going to turn off clipping because if I try to rotate it while clipping's on, nothing's going to move. I'm going to rotate it on the X by 90. Rotate it on the X by 90. Yeah. Scale it to, like the outside of this little stone thing. And I'm going to deselect all of the ones that I want to keep. I want to keep all of those. All right. Okay. And I am going to scale this towards the 3D cursor. I mean, that just definitely seems like more than necessary, but I think we'll keep going with it for now. Let's Alt-M at cursor. I'm going to undo that. And I don't know, this is just driving me nuts. I just don't think it needs that much. So I'm going to dissolve all these edges and then dissolve all these verts. And I think that's going to be plenty. And that's going to be better because now we can actually get quads up here, which if we were going to bring it into the engine is certainly more appropriate. Whoops. All right, so that lines up pretty good. We'll just start. Whoa. Not good, not good. Extrude, scale. Extrude, scale. You know what? I think that's gonna be okay. Considering my only considering we're sculpting, I think that's gonna be okay. My only concern is I actually kind of want to have the low poly model follow these contours of the boards and how they are clearly like separate links, you know? Hmm. All right. We will put that right back down there. And we'll take this backwards a little bit. And up. Maybe do that one more time. That's probably a little much already, but can do something like that. And you know, we kept it nice and low poly, so we can pretty quickly close up the back. So that's good. And let's set this back to the medium point. There we go. Okay. All right. I'm going to use connected proportional editing and try to dip this in a little bit, but not further than that. Okay. Now, I'm still not getting maybe the bend that I would want. So I'm going to just move this forward a little bit. And I mean, this is kind of gimmicky, but I'm going to try to. There are some different modifiers in here that I can try to use. Unfortunately for us, the modifiers in Blender are not really as easy to use as they are in Max or Maya per se. Like that's the deform right now. That's fine. That works. And I think it's just basing it off the cursor, so that's perfect. I think that's going to be plenty enough. I dig. That works. All right. Let's get in here and. All right, so what we can do here is we can separate the two just so we don't have to deal with it while we're sculpting the different parts. Let's see what happens with that. So it still has the mirror, for the metal plate. Oh, it didn't get the bend quite how we want. Let's see if we can reduce its bend a little bit. That's perfect. All right. Maybe even a little less. Okay. That's looking good. That's looking good. All right. Well, let's go ahead and we're going to hide the metal plate so we can just focus on the shield for now. Oh, first, before we do any of that, let's take what we got. And we'll duplicate it. And I'm actually just gonna, well, it doesn't really matter. I'll move it over. No, I'll leave it right there. And then move it to a different layer by pressing M and choosing a layer. See, when I press M, it brings up a move to layer menu. So now I've got one of these on the 5th layer and one of these on the 1st layer. And I'm going to save that one for once we've done the sculpting detail, then we can bake it into the low poly. All right, let's get started sculpting. All right, let's do it. Now, at this point, I'm switching to my my Intuos tablet just so it feels a little more, natural. And I'm just going to use that dynamic topology so I don't have to worry about, obviously, like our mesh is really low poly. I can't sculpt on that. That's not going to do anything. But I'm going to use that dynamic topology. That way I don't really have to worry about the topology there. Yeah, that's true. We probably want to get rid of that. So I'm going to undo that. and I'm actually going to, for our entire sculpted or for our entire mesh that we're going to sculpt, I'm going to bring it all back and apply the modifiers. Definitely that modifier. And yeah, probably the mirror too, because I have the ability to do mirroring while sculpting anyway. All right, let's hide that again. I'm gonna use proportional editing to correct how different this is. No need, no need, it's okay. I mean, we could always scale it in the X, but it's gonna make it so the metal plate's off. But we'll try it anyway. Hold on. Now it looks like I've got a scale lock here, and I've had this happen before, and it was locked because of this that I'm hovering over right here, interestingly. So yeah, that did it. Make sure both of these are grabbed. Yeah. Just a little closer. All right, that works. That works. All right, let's dive right in. Start with something kind of large and see how much detail we can get out of this. Not really enough, but you know, we can zoom in and then all of a sudden it will be enough. So I still don't like that. Let's just go small. And honestly, before we do any of that, let's kind of smooth out that whole thing, because right now it looks a little, blocky. And I can do that by grabbing the inflate brush and lightly brushing over the surface. You know. And I'm just adding some detail like right off the bat. But without really like affecting the shape too much. And then I can grab the smooth brush and start to smooth that back out. All right, great. Now we got something to work with, you know? So I think we're still going to use the inflate tool here. And I can adjust the curve, and that'll kind of give me different effects, and I'll demonstrate that real quick. If I just do it, let's up this back up. If I just straight, do it like that. Let's see, go smaller. So this smooth curve, it just kind of gets me that smooth uh, look to it. But if I want to do something like this, then maybe I start to get something a little sharper. And you can even, you can edit this to whatever it is that you need or want. You can get it a lot sharper potentially. So that's starting to look a little, a little sharper. Yikes. So I'll probably actually stay with something like that for right now. And I'm a little closer than I want to be, so I'm going to control. And with the Intuos, I do shift and the right mouse button on my Intuos pen to pan, and control and the right mouse button, or it's the back button on the side to zoom in and out. And then if I just hold it, then I rotate around. Okay. Gonna go pretty small here, and okay, that's good. And I'm pressing control to dig in instead of, if you just start sculpting, just clicking on your tab on your drawing tablet, then you're going to do uh, inflate versus deflate, but I'm inverting it by pressing control. And here I can kind of already start to just work those corners a little bit and shape the boards and how they're kind of separated. And I mean, if I want, I can actually start to use like the grab tool and pull out that board. Okay. And I can just press shift to smooth as well. Oh, it doesn't look like it's doing it though. Gonna go even smaller, and we'll start to get some like just little chinks and imperfections in this stone here. I think it's probably a good time to turn off our symmetry here. Well, I guess we could start kind of detailing the wood grain a little bit first. And I mean, I'm just kind of like, just kind of trying to start to create this look here. I'm not, doing anything too fancy, just trying to do some like sweeping kind of curves to make it look like there's some good looking wood grain going here. Let's save ourselves a little work and go more higher detail here. Actually, let's up this back up, and we'll just get a little closer to the model, and then that way they'll come out really clean. It looks like we still need more. So yeah, those look kind of grainy. I mean, we could add a subdivision surface, or let's see what that does. Maybe a multi-res surface. No, it says it's not supported. So, I mean, we can just, kind of smooth it back out a little bit and keep some of what we got. Let's see. So you can see I'm kind of punching a hole in the mesh there, and it means that I'm pushing through to the back. So I definitely want to try to avoid that. Okay, just kind of start uh, putting some dings or inconsistencies on this thing. I'm definitely going to turn off symmetry for this because it's going to be very noticeable. All right, that's I think that's a fine start for right now. Um, oh yeah, we got one more thing to add in there. These little bolts, we'll add those too. And what I'll do is I've just been using the same brush, this inflate brush. So I'm just going to kind of dig out the little holes, and then I'm going to inflate up what the bolts would be. So let's up the strength and just start digging it. Dig it, just dig it and dig it and dig it. That works. We can take it further. Whoops. We can take it further than that too, though. And it looks like that's as far as we can take it. And that's as far as I can take that one. Okay. All right, now this time we're not going to use control, and we're just going to go a little smaller and inflate it back. I think we can definitely pump those up a little bit more. And I'm just going to grab that one and try to shape it up a little bit. Looks kind of weird. All right, awesome. Let's get out of sculpt mode, go to object mode, and that's looking pretty cool. Let's unhide the plating. Now we could handle the plating different kinds of ways. We could sculpt it as well. We could add some supporting edges. Looks like I'm still getting the effects of the mirror and the deform. So I could, add just some supporting edges and just give it like a hard surface kind of look. Or so this is adding supporting edges. I mean, I just want, the different areas that are supposed to look sharp to look sharp. And then the parts that are supposed to be kind of circular to be circular. So we'll start there and just see what kind of results we get with that. All right, let's see what happens when we smooth it. I'm not great at doing subdivision stuff like this. It's not terrible, but I don't love it either, it feels like it's kind of sharp in some of the right places, but then it's also just a little too smooth in general. And I can turn this on and then actually see like how it looks smooth and where the topology is, and start to try to tighten up the places where I want it to be very crisp. And it's not bad. It's not bad. Okay, so I'm still definitely going to want to sculpt this a little bit, at least for these little bolts that kind of, fasten this metal piece onto the shield. I think that'll definitely add a little bit of believability. And I might see if I can find some kind of Celtic texture to use as a stencil to do some sculpting there. We'll just kind of see how that goes. All right, that's a decent base. So I'm just going to start from it without even dealing with. I think I will enable top or dyno topology or dynamic dynamic topology just for these bolts to start. And yeah, I'm gonna definitely do that real quick. And hopefully I can kind of just get it done just with just by making the groove. And I'm just switching back and forth between, you know, lowering it and raising it. And it looks like I do kind of have some messiness here. So I'm just gonna run over it with dynamic topology and just try to kind of clean it up. So now I've got something smoother to work with. Same thing here. I've got a little bit of nastiness right here in the corner. So I'm going to lightly run over it and then smooth it back out. And then lightly run over it and smooth it back out. All right. Going to lower this detail a lot, so I can get some nice smooth like gouges in the metal. Just kind of make it look worn and used, you know. All right. Let's see if we can find uh, some kind of design that we can put on there. That'd be pretty cool. And so when we're looking for, you know, a stencil, the basic thing we want is we want something like this, a black background with white. Because what's going to happen is the places that it's going to sculpt is going to be wherever it's white. So something like this is pretty good because we can just kind of throw this on a black background, and then bada boom, we've got, you know, kind of a detail that's going to come up on the sculpt, and that's great. But I'm going to keep browsing and see what we got. Avoid some of Google Images follies that we just encountered up there. Saw an interesting one over here. Oh, these are kind of cool. See, these could be really cool, maybe trying to use the mirror modifier, and maybe we could get a really, really cool look in there. All these are nice and watermarked. Let's see. Pretty cool stuff. Let's go with the one we were looking at, just for simplicity's sake. All right, I'm going to save this image, and I'm going to put it over a black background. And we'll edit it with Photoshop if it will allow us. All right, I'm gonna right off the bat, I'm just gonna grab it off of this white background because it's gonna mess things up. Let me use the pen. That's what that's for. So. Well, it's not letting me duplicate it. That's kind of weird. So let's do a new one. Yeah, that's odd. I don't know. And I'm going to increase the canvas size. And it's going to be, I guess, just like that. Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to decrease or increase the height by 550, something like that. All right, that way I can actually get 2 of these on here. And I'm going to make a new layer and put it at the bottom, and that's just going to be a dark layer. And I can merge these two together and just kind of brush out some of these issues, some of these little errors here. And we could hop back in and maybe find something different. Something circular, something to kind of break it up, add some interest. I mean, that's pretty cool. Let's just go for this guy. I'm just gonna copy it and throw it right in here. Oi, that's weird. That is really weird. Well, you probably just invert it. Ah, shoot. Might be from just copying and pasting. Let's actually save the image. You know what it is? No? Alright, let's get rid of it. And we'll grab it again. It looks like, looking at it, like it's only partially transparent, so that's unfortunate. I was hoping that was going to make it really easy on us. Hmm. I'm just going to go with that. And I'm going to copy it and just throw it right in there. And I think I'm going to try to make it look a little more natural by following the shape of this a little better. And I can probably do that pretty easily by just selecting all of the white and then growing that selection. I'm going to expand it by like, yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's pretty good. So then I can do Control I and invert it. Ooh, I don't want to invert the picture, but I do want to invert the selection. So just grab any marquee tool and do select inverse. And now I can delete that. So now I get kind of more of a natural looking indentation there. And it's still kind of a little haphazard there. I can probably make it look a little more realistic by just taking, a black brush and coming in here and doing that and just get rid of those. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's kind of cool, so we'll go with that. All right, that's great. Let's do it. Let's save that. Make it an alpha. Okay. We'll go texture and new. And we actually have to load it into Blender or load it into Blender this way, and then we can open it up. Okay, so that's interesting. We'll see if it works and how well it works. But let's see. Let's go back to kind of the normal curvature. Yeah, it's working. We probably want to change the way the stroke hits it, or how often we do the spacing of our stroke. Let's see what we get there. Okay, not great. Drag dot is probably what we want. No. No. No, that's not it. All right, well, the first thing we're definitely going to want to do is, I still don't know if we're actually going to be able to get this to work, but we're definitely going to want to actually remove this right now. And let's change this to mask, because we're going to want to mask out everything that we're not going to be applying that to. And we're not going to want to apply that to any of this outside portion. And this is definitely a good time for putting on like fast navigate. It's starting to get a little heavy. And that should kind of speed things up for us a little bit. And we just want to mask as much of this out as possible because we don't want any of that stencil hitting anything out here. All right, that's probably good enough. And I think instead of inflating, we might just want draw. All right. Okie dokie. And let's try to do symmetry on the z-axis, so we only have to do it once. Let's see. Whoop. Maybe 100%. Yeah, that smooth stroke ain't really doing it. And I think what I'm going to do here is probably just need more, just more clay to work with here. So I'm going to try to simply inflate all of this area. Whoa. That's not what we want. So let's reset that spacing. No.